I am interviewing today Dr. Kiki Hurt, who is the founder of Global Music for Life. How are you doing today?
Hi, I'm fantastic. How are you?
I'm good. So I have to ask, first and foremost, for those who haven't been introduced yet, Global Music for Life, can you tell us the concept behind it?
The thought process behind it, basically, it's a way of subliminally providing people with health information that they enjoy. You know, it's kind of like that old concept, Schoolhouse Rock, where they, you kind of learn the Constitution. You know, I'm just a Bill. Yes, I'm only a Bill.
Mm-hmm.
If you kept listening to it every Saturday when you're eating your Cheerios or whatever, as a kid, you got into it. And so now, what we hear a lot, one of the most popular music for most people or most teenagers is hip hop.
Mm-hmm.
So the concept is that you hear the beat because people don't necessarily understand the words the first time they hear the song. But if you like the beat, you like the way it makes you want to bounce or clean up your house or whatever, then you just keep listening to it. Then one day you'll actually stop and the words will be absorbed, or you'll listen. Because I remember the first time I heard Adele's song, I really didn't listen to the song. I just liked the sound that I heard.
Yeah, true.
So that's the whole concept,
Okay.
Like that.
And music is definitely a mega influence. And you have, it looks like an arsenal of artists so far. How did you pick the artists you wanted to be a part, or was it a different type of selection?
It's basically artists find me.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of artists out there who have a lot of talent that either it hasn't been, it hasn't been found by other people, or the artists just want to give back to the community. Because Global Music for Life is all about keeping people healthy. It's all about positive energy. It's like it's taking the same songs that you may hear that you really like that are very popular that might have words in that you may not want your 5-year-old to hear,
Mm-hmm.
and they get that same energy, that same bounce, that same no. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it's just artists that they're very creative, they're very giving people, and it's easy to find because there are a lot of people out there that want to make a difference and not just make money, And so those are my artists. Those are the people that come to me. And it's not really my artists; they're just people who they work with Global Music for Life. So Global Music for Life is an entity that provides a service to the world, and people come through and they help us do that. But they may belong to Sony or to somebody else's label or have their own label, but they're not necessarily a part of our label.
Oh, another question I have is that when you're putting in message and things like that into songs, especially when you're delivering healthcare through music, what do you think it takes longer because you're sending out a message that way for them to receive it? Or do you think it's one of those things where you just grab onto it?
You know what? I think as long as we have a great beat, people will grab onto it.
Okay.
I don't know if you've heard Can't Go Out Like That.
Uh-huh.
People hear that, they grab onto it. But recognize Can't Go Out Like That, which is our song about diabetes.
Mm-hmm.
It's not until you get probably towards the middle that you recognize what we're talking about. Because the hook is Can't Go Out Like That. The song isn't called Diabetes. But the song the beat had gone platinum in the UK like 4 times.
Wow.
And so you can buy the mechanical rights to a beat.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what we did. It's like, okay, well, let's take a beat that I already know has been successful and that people like to hear. And then I love to put the violin or live instruments with, anything that I produce. And so then we added the violin to that. We're doing the violin, we're doing some drums, doing some other, little things to it. And we made our own beat, as well as, using some of the foundation from the beat that we liked, which was from a song called Plan B.
Mm-hmm.
No, it was called She Said by a group named Plan B in the UK.
Okay.
So we already knew people liked the beat.
Mm-hmm.
It was just, putting those words to it that meant something. So people catch on relatively quickly because they have no clue what they're listening to till later. They're just dancing. And that's the whole goal. To get you up, get you moving, and keep you healthy just without you knowing it. Maybe. So here, it's an interview, right? That's been until they hear this interview and they're like, oh,
Oh, yeah. Pretty much. They'll be like, oh, that's what that was about? Yes.
right.
But what do you think is the biggest issues we're having today in today's society? Do you think it's health-wise? Do you think it's more mental-wise? Or do you think it's a combination of both?
I think it's just education.
Okay.
You know, most people will do the right thing if they're educated. But a lot of people, physicians, nurses, you know, insurance companies, or just whoever, they speak above people's head.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I have friends that are attorneys, and you know, I may be asking them something simple about a speeding ticket, and they start using words. I'm like, what are you saying? Speak to me in English. You know, and
Yeah.
I'm like, and they're like, you're a doctor. I'm like, I don't care. I don't know what you're talking about. You know?
Yeah.
But come to my level. I was like, talk to me like I'm two. And so then I know I understand it, you know? And so it's like, I think the biggest problem is that people don't understand that, hey, sometimes you got to make it real simple. You know, as far as like eating healthy, if someone's overweight, you don't tell them, you know what, go and, you know, follow this nutrition diet that we have. It's like, no, you got to go. You got to figure out what you like.
Yeah.
And then what of the things that you like, which of those things are going to be healthy for you. And maybe maybe you love cake. Well, you can't eat cake every day. So maybe you start, you know, with just eating cake on Mondays. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or maybe you eat it 4 times a day. Well, you got to start with eating it in the evening. So I think it's all about education. It's like, you know, being healthy is not a trend. It's a way of life. So, you know, I don't advocate any certain diet or advocate any certain type of exercise.
Mm-hmm.
I advocate education. And if you educate a man or a person, then you give them life. You know, because they will take care of themselves.
That's true, and that's a profounding statement about educating someone, because a lot of times we think because it's supposed to be common knowledge, people just know. People just do. But the truth is, if you're in a routine of something, clearly you don't know. That's just what you've seen. So my next question to you would have to be is, what's the next level for Global Music for Life? Like, where do you want it to go from here?
Well, basically, Global Music for Life has only been out for a year as of July 31st. We have about 53,000 fans at this point, between, you know, it's all social. Mm-hmm. And what I would like for Global Music for Life to do is to just, you know, become one of those Jay-Z, Kanye type of entities. And so what we're trying to do is get into the school systems. We're trying to get into the penitentiaries, get into the juvenile systems where, you know, kids are, you know, in trouble. And because if you get into those systems, if you get into the school system, and you get into the penitentiaries, and you get into all these places where people need the help, and people, you know, they really don't, you know, have access to the information, but it grows and they grow, then you know you made an impact, you know? So it's like, yeah, you know, I would love to see Global Music for Life doing concerts or whatever, except remember, we own all the songs. Global Music for Life owns all the songs, so any artist can sing the song.
Yeah.
If the artist who you hear singing happens to be available, then they'll sing it. But the biggest thing is for, you know, me to wake up one morning to know that, you know, every school district in Chicago, I'm in Chicago today, has Global Music for Life as part of their healthcare curriculum. You know, in prison systems, they have what they call JP3s instead of MP3s. And to know that the prisoners, that they have access to our music, and, you know, we don't even, we're trying to be non-for-profit, so we're not really trying to make money. We're trying to make money to give back to the community.
Yeah.
You know, whereas, you know, the major record labels are trying to make money for profit. We want to make the profit, but the profit is so that we can make that profit, make Global Music for Life even bigger and make an even greater impact on the world. So, because, you know, when you look around, it's not just black people or people, you know, Hispanic descent that are overweight, that have diabetes. There's a lot of people.
That is
there are a lot
true.
of people with various diseases that affect them that people aren't talking about, such as fibromyalgia and breast cancer and, you know, HIV in the teenagers. And so it's like, I would like to see Global Music for Life educate people wherever they are, where they're at. And if you can start in the school system at the age of 5, then by the time you graduate, then you should be able to be articulate with your physician about whatever it is going on with your body. But if all we teach our kids is, you know, well, you got 300 bones and, you know, you got a muscle that attaches here, then they will never, ever be able to, you know, really grasp the concept of taking care of themselves.
That is true.
That's why I want to go with Global Music for Life, and I want it to be worldwide. I don't want it to be just hip-hop. I want to go pop, I want to do country, you know, so, you know, I mean, but we're a year old, so, you know, pretty happy where we're at, but we're going farther. everyone, but but hip hop will always be our basis because I love hip hop.
Yeah, hip hop is everywhere. If you look at it, it's primarily the root of a lot of the music we listen to today. It's even in our commercials. It's in our TV shows. It's everywhere. And you really did say something really profounding about the educational system, because if you can get to the minds of the children now, by the time they become adults, they won't have the same, I don't want to say limitations, but at the same time it is kind of a limitation, because by the time we get a hold of our health, it's at that point to where we're either on medication or, high blood pressure and things like that. So, yeah, if you can get to them young, we can beat out a lot of these things, especially like diabetes. And my next question to you would be, once you get into the educational system and things like that, do you think there would be a possibility that maybe it'll spread out to other school districts throughout the U.S.?
Oh, the goal isn't just to stick in one school district.
Yeah.
I want to be all across the world. The goal is to start in America and any school district, any prison system that we can get into, and to go from there. All we need is that one person, that one entity, that one billionaire, that wants to give out money, because it's not like, this is free.
Yeah.
To produce all these songs, so once we get into one system, then it will make it a lot easier to get into other systems. Because the problem is, people didn't believe in hip-hop a long time ago. They're like, oh, it's a fad, oh, it's a this and this and that. But hey, hip-hop is here to stay. It's not going anywhere.
That's true.
So I'm like, you can say what you want, but I love hip-hop. And I'm 43, and, all the teenagers and the little kids love hip-hop. So whether they be black, white, Japanese, whatever, everybody is into it. So it's just like, okay, stop trying to say, it's going someplace, and take it and use it to make the world a better place. So Global Music for Life is all about changing the world, and we're going to use the instrument of hip-hop to do it. So you can deliver that message of living high, living in the sky, doing what I want to do, making myself fly, and doing it all while I'm eating right and doing, what I'm saying? I can't, this is the way I do it. I just come up with some crazy stuff in my head and give it to an artist who actually has a talent. And then they lay it, and then it's like, okay, here's the beat I have, and then I sit there and actually produce. Because, of course, since I'm a physician and I'm not a singer, then I can't really afford those producers that, like the Jay-Z's and all them. So I end up learning, a lot of different things about music and how to produce and what sound I want to hear. And so, I don't know what the real producers use, but I know for me, if I turn that song on and like a little 5-year-old doesn't dance to it, and I don't waste my time, I'm like, this is whack. If you ain't dancing, dude, let's stop. Let's turn over.
Well,
if the 1-year-old is bumping it, sucking on that bottle to the big, you're like, oh yeah, we got a hit.
That's true. I mean, they typically know a lot better. They typically know a lot faster than we do. If they can get into it, then 9 times out of 10, it's going to be a hit. So now, if people want to find out more about Global Music for Life, where can they go?
That's just it. You go to Global Music, and it's the number 4 life.com. So Global Music, it's all one word, www.globalmusic4life.com. And they can find out all about us. They can donate. They can listen to our music. They can download our app. Our app is actually free. So the other thing that people don't know about us is that our app is free to download on any Android or iPhone. And then you can listen to all our music actually for free. And I try as much as I can, because I do work like everybody else in the world, but I try as much as I can to answer health questions. If people want to go into my Facebook site, which is Dr. Kiki, MD, and ask a health question. And if I don't know the answer, I have colleagues, and I'll find out from them. So we give out health information for free. And so all you got to do is download the app. You can hear all the songs for free. If you want to buy, which we would love for you to do that, you can buy those songs from our Facebook, which is Global Music for Life. Again, that's all you got to do is just type it in, and we'll come up on the Google or wherever, or you can just go directly to the website. But when you download the app, then you get which is free, then you can listen to the music for free. Our goal is to say, even right now, when we don't really have like a lot of money and we're not out like Jay-Z and all of them, we're still making sure that everybody has access to free health information. So if it's only if you want to buy the song that you buy the song. You don't even have to buy the song. You know? I mean, it's a great thing because it will help me to keep making music. But right now, we're just trying to get it out there because people are so like, oh, you can't educate people with hip hop. And I say to those people, you know, that they're kind of dated, as the kids say. You know, it's like I'm learning term that needed dated. I'm like, oh, really? Okay, well, those people are dated because you can teach people with hip hop.
Yeah.
And I'm trying, and that's the whole goal is, you know, just getting that exposure so that people know that we exist. And when people know that we exist, just like they didn't know that hip hop existed and that hip hop was gonna make it. Once they know that global music for life exists, they'll know we're here to stay. You know, even if I gotta go to work every single day, eat ramen noodles, go to the studio, you know, buy whatever, you know, that's what we're gonna do. This is not going. We're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
We will be a part of the healthcare solution. We will not be, you know, sitting here waiting on somebody else to make a difference. We're making a difference right now. Me and every artist you see, from, you know, Kay Jackson to Lil J to Marcus Polk, LTP, Larry, Exclusive, Michelle the Blazing, all those artists, when you look at them, those are people that are trying to make a difference in the world, you know? And, you know, hey, either, you know, help or just cry. I'm crying doesn't mean get me wet. So,
well, I mean, for it to have only have been a year thus far and to have had this much success, I mean, I definitely can see that it's going to be greater in the years to come, and it's definitely going to expand further. I don't see it. You're absolutely right. When it comes to hip hop is very influential. It's in our roots. It's definitely something we listen to. It's something that it's in us. Not to mention the fact, like I said, it's all over commercials. Now you see a car, you can relate it to a song or a type of beat. So that's the same thing. Why shouldn't it be when it comes to health? Plus, you're also on Twitter, which is the big thing. Everybody's on Twitter right now. And you guys are Global M for the number 4 and L. So make sure that you follow them on Twitter to keep up with the apps and, of course, the music and what's going on with the actual Global Music for Life, where they're gonna. And do you guys have events coming up soon, or?
You know, right now we don't have an event coming up. We're still trying to get with one of the major artists. We just used Drake put out a song called Headlines. So I did a song with Kay Jackson called ICU, and we're really trying to, you know, we're dreaming big. It's like, why start at the bottom? Start at the top, work your way down.
Yeah.
So we're trying to, you know, get involved with Drake, or see if Drake will do something with us, you know, to, you know, get more exposure and for people to really, really know that we're there. But right now, it's just all about, you know, we may send out 1,000 letters a week to those people who really are, you know, already established and who already have a fan base. And 50,000 people, that's nothing, you know?
Yeah.
But, you know, 1 million, if Drake has sold, you know, gone platinum 2 or 3 times, and that's like 2 or 3 million people. But realize there's 350 million people in the country. So there's so many more people that, you know, don't know, you know, a Drake or somebody. And I'm like, you know, let's expose it, because if we're in the school system, then those, you know, those people that haven't heard of Drake, they get to know him. They get to know him because he's doing something like, you know, delivering health information, or taking that song that someone may think is negative and turning it into a positive. Because they don't always see the positivity in what they think is negative. You know, like I remember Tupac and Biggie, and they would use words that, you know, may not be politically correct, but those words weren't necessarily used in a bad way.
Yeah.
And so it's like you had to actually listen to get the message, you know? So I'm just like, you know, hip hop for life, hip hop for life.
Well, definitely. I mean, it's not going anywhere. It's going to be here forever. And again, is there anything that you want to add before we have to go? Again, it was such an honor and a privilege to talk to you today, and to definitely expose the world even more to what Global Music for Life is, what it's doing, and the concept behind it, which is pretty much delivering healthcare through music and through hip-hop. So is there anything else you'd like to add before we go?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you for this opportunity. I appreciate it. All my artists, I'm sure, appreciate it. And, and that would be totally great if you guys could, follow us on Twitter, hit us up on the website. And if you guys have any health information, any questions, anything that you don't understand, as long as I'm not in the operating room or with a critical patient, if you hit me up with a question, Dr. Kiki heard MD, I definitely will answer you back within a week, if not within a day. So, there's no reason that anybody should have a question or want to get to us and that they can't, because we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook. MySpace, I don't really go to a lot, but if you hit us up on one of those, then you can, get your questions answered. And even if you have a doctor and the doctor's saying something and you're like, it's over my head, just hit me up and I'll answer back. And that's what makes us a little bit different than most of the hip hop people out there.
Oh, that's true. A lot of times people want information, but they can't get it. And education is very important. So, if you have a question or at the same time, great music that you can listen to, but at the same time get educated with, please go to globalmusicforlife.com. And again, thank you, Dr. Kiki Hurt, and have a great day.